Dear Roxanne, the year is still 1972. I was planning not to overwhelm you with these records to save what could be history to you. These events as compact, eloquent messages, but certain nights should be and must be remembered, for I, for the first time, was forced to destroy another vampire through the allegory. You have warned me of the dangers of kindred congregation, indeed, but you, like most of us, focused your efforts and attention more on the wonders of mankind. And so, just like I imagined you would be, I found myself in an impossible situation. A week ago, Anton summoned me to a meeting with the other barons, and I could feel it as I awakened. The sense of dread, like a black fog, choking me, the city, the entire bloody land. I tried to push it in the back of my mind, as I have for decades now, but it was there, in the darkness. The beast grinning at me knowingly, anticipating my committing this greatest of sins. He wanted me there, of course he did, to instruct me on what to tell the fledglings and neonates later on, as if I haven't been his mouthpiece for all these years, making sure his horrific actions are justified. He wanted me there to make sure the rest of them fall in line, and to delight in the presumed shock I would feel as he would reveal his poorly hidden romance with Isabot. And I would appease him, of course, let him savor the sight of a delicate, sensible toreador falling for the way from the light and beauty, drowning in the blood of hundreds more mortals he would serve as an offering to his dark gods. The five and I, a La Sombra delegate, and a handful of ghouls who hold positions in the party. We met in a basement like rats planning to devour a body after mutilating it slowly, thoroughly, for years. This is what they did and still plan to do to this country. I stood there listening, trying to hold back the fear and anger as they spoke with anticipated satisfaction about the next 5 years. If I could have shivered, I certainly would have, for among many other atrocities, they plan to execute most of the local human intellectuals and remaining elite. A culling, they called it. Wipe the board clean of any influence, kindred or kind, that may sway their childer and their childer's childer against the plan. Their rhetoric made me sick. But then, as I thought the massive tribute to the Sabbat, the enslaving of key individuals, the carving of territories couldn't be more sinister, this La Sombra fucker, a true sadist, revealed that they plan to resume building the Danube Black Sea Canal. More deaths, more slaughter, more artists and thinkers sent to work and suffer and die. He pulled out a list of names and I froze, as your family's was among them. The rest of the discussion is a dark void. I can barely recall what happened. What I do remember is Anton, instead of directing me to produce a speech for his comrades, assigned me to supervise that Sabbat fucker's child, as he would round up as many of those on the list the following night. He is either paranoid to the bone or devious to test me like this, or both. I had hours to figure out the plan. I met that sick bastard the next evening and convinced him to discuss a plan before joining the rest of the team sent to arrest the mortals. He was reluctant to do so, but I played on his ego, so the shithead agreed to a private chat. His secret police ghouls ordered to remain in the street. As soon as he blinked, I rushed him, sank my fangs into his unholy flesh and drained him dry. I sank into a vortex of misery and we wrangled for what seemed like forever. His will against mine, our souls intertwined like embryos in a womb trying to absorb one another. When it was done, I could barely stand. I heard it, the beast laughing in delight and, for the first time, bracing me with steady claws. This rush of power surged through me. It, the kindred I had just annihilated, or maybe something older, vibrating through me, and I knew what had to be done. One by one I mesmerized the ghouls. None remember ever seeing their master that night. We went straight to your family's home and, despite the rushed and seemingly brutal method, I had them transported to safety outside of the city with some bad ghouls no less to ensure their protection all the way. I spent the rest of the night arranging deals, faking documents, reports, convincing the right players that the plan was in motion. I had all the individuals on my list replaced with criminals and sympathizers, and on paper, at least, it all seemed to have been done right. There is no sign yet that Anton or anyone else knows what has really happened. Time will tell, and my next letter. Hopefully there will be one. Hopefully there will be a me to write it. I can still feel the La Sombra in me like dying embers. We're both burning ash, but for now I burn hotter. I love you, Roxanne. That alone, I pray, will sustain me a while longer, for everything else, especially our beloved humanity, seems a lost